Does a bankruptcy certification actually help you win more clients when building a bankruptcy practice? I'm here with Eron Epstein, moneyproblems.com, 45-year bankruptcy attorney, and I'm happy to call you, Eron, a great friend. You've been a great client for many, many years, 12, 13, 14 years, however long it's been. And you know what? Let's talk about that. For people watching this, young debtor attorneys, should I spend the time getting certified? Unpack it for us.
Philip, first of all, it's been about 20 years. It was San Diego, 2005.
There it is. Well, Than,
It's been a
we
good
look
run.
good, don't we?
Yeah, well, I'm just glad to be above ground still.
All right.
Yeah, it's a real conundrum because sometimes I will tell people, because if you're doing it to get more clients, you're probably doing it for the wrong reason.
Okay.
I think the one story I have is early on after I became board certified, and I think it was 1988, maybe, whenever they first started it. I was one of the first ones, of course. And I had this woman call me and she said, Mr. Epstein, can you explain what this means? It says you're board certified. What does that mean? I started explaining, you had to dedicate your practice certain percentage to just being a debtor's attorney. You had to have an additional CLE, you had to have $1 million liability policy. And I went through the whole thing for about 15 minutes. I said, "Oh, Ms. Smith, would you like to make an appointment to come talk?" She said,
Right.
"No, Mr. Epstein, I wondered what it meant. Now I appreciate you telling me what it means. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later." And
Uh,
it's like, okay, swing and a miss.
there we
Well,
go.
fast forward, within the next month or two,
Mhm.
I actually had an attorney, a female lawyer in the office who was on the board of professional responsibility. Okay. That was her job, full-time job. And I had come in and put my board certification plaque on the wall, I think the day before. It was a Sunday and she
Mhm.
came to Monday. And I kept seeing her looking up at this board certification
Yeah.
plaque. And I go, Miss So and so, I said, it's ironic that you're looking. I just saw that. I just put that up yesterday because I
Right.
was not because I knew you were coming,
Right.
Mr. Epstein. You can rest assured that we did a deep dive before we chose you. So you have to have
Right.
people who are looking for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think just, I don't regret it. I think
Right.
it's more of something you do almost for yourself,
Mhm.
just kind of to prove that you've got the mojo. And you probably do get respect by the other attorneys,
Mhm.
not a bad thing, on both sides, debtor counsel, creditors.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, without a question. I mean, the
but
trustees have got to look at it a little differently. I'm sure you handle your cases differently. I mean, the extra CLEs help. I mean, if you're, there's new people getting into the business right now, young debtor attorneys, right? I mean, I see it. I see it where I deliver leads and I deliver, clients to someone that actually can't handle it. Right?
yeah,
Obviously, this is a whole next level of certification, but for the new debtor attorney, there's a baseline of education, and then there's a more advanced level of education. But if you're going to commit your life to serving the debtor and the bankruptcy client, you know, more knowledge is good. I mean, would you agree with that? Looking back
no,
40 years
looking
ago,
back, what I used to tell people, and I didn't ever do a hard sell on it because, a lot of people, are just price shopping and they may feel like, oh, this guy's board certified. He's probably going to cost too much.
mm,
Wrong. But the market determines the pricing.
yeah, right,
Um, but I've told a lot of people, I said, would you go to an orthopedic surgeon and let him cut on your knee or your hip
yeah,
if he wasn't board certified? I'm just curious. Well, no, that'd be crazy. I go, it's not that different with a lawyer.
yeah, right,
Okay.
yeah,
So there's a bit of an analogy there, and I think it's valid. Um, but depending on what kind of bankruptcy lawyer, what kind of firm you want to run,
right,
it never hurts. There's no downside
yeah.
other
There's no other than the
than
time.
due to CLE and the application and the the reapplication and all that, I mean, but I got people that do most of that for me. And
So,
so I
Aaron,
think,
Aaron, let me pivot a little. Let me pivot a little bit. Specialize it a little more. If looking back, 45 years in the business, right? I mean, 45 years. And and what would you say to the young debtor attorney who's thinking about getting in? Like one, two, three. If there are one, two, three things that you've got to look at when building a practice, if you want to get in the debtor world, what would you say? Looking at with your 45 years experience.
number one, be the best you can be. That's kind of obvious, but do not focus on the money.
Mhm.
Focus on giving the best client experience you can. Be 110% transparent, over disclose everything. You know, don't ever let a client compromise you. You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Mm.
Um, so be ethical, be fair, be compassionate. I tell people all the time, because I have a lot of people working for me, at least 12 or 15 on any given day. And I say, especially the intake caseworkers, I said, listen, I can teach you everything you need to know about how to do intake. I can't, I can't teach you compassion.
Mhm.
And if you don't have compassion, you're not getting past my HR director. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, if you can have one person who's in charge of HR, my wife is also a lawyer, as you know. Her clients are billionaires. Mine are the opposite. But she said, "Yeah, I had a billionaire in the other day said I didn't have an HR director till I had 75 employees."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, good for him. It's the best money I spend."
Yeah.
You can take that away if you're going to play the long game. Play the long game, and that includes having somebody to not insulate you, but to assist you in HR decisions, because that'll make or break you in the long run.
How many people do you need, would you say, to have an HR manager? I mean, like you wouldn't have one as a sole provider with one paralegal. How many would you have?
Well, he's not a pure play HR director. He also kind of rides herd on all my employees. And every day I get one or two or three emails that go to everybody saying, here are the cases pending. So and so still haven't brought their taxes in. So, need to communicate with the client. So it's a little more than that. He's like an office manager, but he's kind of an HR focused person. So, there's always an HR crisis, whether you have 10 people or 10,000 people. So I don't know where you get to a certain point where you can cost justify it.
Hmm.
Even
Got it.
if you have to have somebody part-time, 3 days a week, somebody like that,
Yeah, someone who's focused on the
that's
check
huge.
boxes of HR, because there's a lot of them. Oh my goodness, there's a
And
lot.
let me just say, the reason I mention all that is because in 45 years, if you don't have somebody to kind of ease that burden, you will burn out.
Yeah.
You cannot do it all. You cannot be the hirer and the firer and the watchdog and you just can't do it.
And
Now,
what else? Is there anything else you'd give a young debtor attorney who's thinking about getting board certified, wants to grow the business? You say, don't focus on the money, give it all to the client, be transparent, get someone to take away the stuff that doesn't empower you, like for an HR manager. What else would you give them?
well, one thing, it might not sound obvious, but you need something like 720creditscore.com, because if you give the value add, that distinguishes you from every other lawyer they're going to talk to. And a lot of people still care about their credit score. So that's another thing. I know I'm playing,
Yeah.
preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I think that's really essential. And I've had 20 years, well, April 2013, where's that? Almost 13 years.
Yeah. And you were really adamant about that. You leaned into that in all your branding. Like
Yeah.
you like made everyone know. I mean, I have some people that just bring it up in an intake. And we're talking not necessarily 720 credit score, but any type of value add, any type of differentiator. that you have in your marketplace. Some people do it in fragmented ways, but you don't think like that. You actually, you like blanket everything you do with a very, very consistent message, which is unlike a lot of bankruptcy attorneys. Like a lot of bankruptcy attorneys are just like they're finding the lead. Got to talk to the lead, kind of a thing. But you are more of like a strategic, holistic thinker when it comes to the debtor bar, in my opinion. I mean, not many bankruptcy attorneys have marketing managers like you do. But
That's
you've always been like that. You've always been like that. And you just blanket the marketplace.
that's another hire that I don't think is optional anymore, is to having a full-time marketing coordinator. Another thing that you cannot do this by yourself. So if you can scale your practice to that level. But I would say in general, the most important thing about marketing is to be comprehensive.
Yeah.
And so, I was the first guy to have bus tails all over Chattanooga,
Yeah.
and we do the overnights, the famous John Orcutt overnights, which are, the only thing I left of all my broadcast media. We still run those, and people walk in the door, and that's the first thing they say is, "You're up too." If
Yeah.
you got a good message,
Yeah.
or as my son says, "Dad, don't double down on that, triple down."
Double
So
down on it.
if
Yeah.
you find something that works, triple down.
So the overnights, for people who don't understand that, those are commercials that are on late, late night
All
where
right,
you're buying the media very, very
exactly.
inexpensive. And that's what that is. So wrapping this session up, Aaron, we started with board certification, with the American Board of Bankruptcy Certification that you got certified years and years ago, decades ago. If you're starting a debtor practice again, would you do it?
I would, mostly, just because for personal reasons, it keeps you focused on what you do best. And probably it means more to people than you'll ever really appreciate.
Yeah.
It's probably for a lot of people, they might take it for granted, but if you care enough to stay at the top of your game, it'll keep you at the top of your game.
And we're not talking a lot of time. Relatively speaking, with the thousands and thousands of hours you're putting into your business every single year,
Right.
extra CLEs and applications, staying current and learning about the practice you devoted yourself to.
Right. And also it'll force you to get out of the office to do that CLE. Although now we got the
Yeah.
online, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of good trips that we took.
To enjoy.
Yeah. So there's that.
Aaron, thank you for your time.
Philip, always a pleasure.